Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Gift of Health weekly wellness chat. For those of you who don't know, I'm Dr. Arjun Raipudi, and this is my lovely wife, Dr. Shobha Raipudi. We are both lifestyle medicine doctors and co founders of Gift of Health, where we help people to prevent, arrest, and reverse disease by addressing the root cause of the problem so that you can have more fun and energy in your life.
Yeah. Like
So,
making lifestyle change is simple and easy, yet difficult. I
yes.
mean, like it may sound so simple, there is no rocket science to it, but like 98% of the people, I mean, they find it very difficult to maintain those lifestyle habits. So we actually help people so that they can maintain the lifestyle habits so that they can have more energy and reverse their chronic diseases and live a happy, healthy life. So today, we are really glad we are joined by a similar person who is doing a similar kind of work in US. So today we have Dr. Bandana Chawla. So she is a both certified internal medicine doctor and she's also certified in lifestyle medicine and currently she's in Houston. So she has been practicing there for over 20 years and over the years she has incorporated the tenets of lifestyle medicine into her practice and seen her patients lose weight, improve their diabetes, and several other health conditions. And to build on the success, she co-founded lifestyledocs.com along with her husband, and where they focus on eating the right types of food, being fit, reducing stress, and connecting more to achieve holistic wellness. So she's also co-founder of a Peaceful Planet Foundation, through which they do mindful techniques in school. And I was really interested to hear her say where they practice 5M. They practice like mindfulness, so mindful eating, like mindful living, mindful breathing. And I know, like you said something else to Bandhan, like you can add on. And that's something they're administering in schools, which is lovely, I would say. So we are really delighted to have you here, Vandana. So welcome.
Welcome, Vandanas. We are so glad you're here, and you and your husband, Munish, Dr. Munish, you are doing amazing work at lifestyledocs.com. We look at your work and we are so inspired with all the stuff that you're doing in Houston area.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. And likewise, my husband and I are inspired by both of you and the work that you're doing in Newfoundland.
So Bandana, like what inspired you to come into lifestyle medicine?
Yeah, so I'd like to tell the story that you hear about people who became healthy or became plant based because their doctor had a talk with them, right? My story is that I became a vegan because my patients had a talk with me. So my exposure was actually my patients. So at the end of 2012, the universe just kept sending me vegan and plant based patients. And so at first, vegans are not shy about letting you know on how their health is improving and how they're reversing their diseases and how they don't need the asthma inhaler anymore and they don't need the diabetes medicines anymore. At first, like you said, Shobha, we don't like to change, right? So my attitude was, oh, good for you. But I don't have those problems, right? So I don't need to change. I don't want to change my lifestyle. But then it just kept happening and happening. And finally, I was like, I got to do the research. I got to look into this. And my husband, Munish, was very nice to help do the research with me. And I was actually vegetarian at the time, and he was an omnivore. So the first 15 years of our marriage, actually, I was a vegetarian and he was an omnivore. And then when he did the research with me, we both became vegan together. And now I like to say that he's a more militant plant-based vegan than I am.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Like, and as you said, it's so obvious. I mean, the changes that people experience, it's so obvious that you cannot unsee them. So I'm glad that your patients, I mean, they were so happy to talk about it, how like eating a different food or eating like plant-based has really improved their situation. So
yeah, absolutely. So they educated me, and I am so grateful to them for having done that. And because of that, they've not only impacted me, but they've impacted so many of my patients. So I like to encourage your community to not be shy about that, to expose their other specialists, endocrinologists, or whoever else they're seeing. Speak up, because the other physicians need to be educated about this too. And just because they're patients doesn't mean they can't educate their physicians.
oh, that's a wonderful point.
Yes, yes. Actually, there are many of our students who like finished our lifestyle medicine programs, the Gift of Health workshop programs, who after they went back to their family doctors, they picked up, some points or other, and I would say many of the physicians who we know in the community in this area, they opened up a bit more and more to the possibilities, like when they're seeing the examples. So
Yes, like when they went back to their family physicians, the family physicians, they were excited that their sugar numbers are coming down, their blood pressure is improving. At the same time, they were excited, oh, like the changes are happening, and they were curious, what are you doing? Like, because I have been seeing you for so many years, but like you're doing something different that is making a change. So you're
Yeah.
right.
yeah, you also bring up one wonderful thing in the beautiful thing in our medicine is that we sometimes we forget that we can actually learn so much from our patients. Most of the time, as doctors, we are focused on, hey, what do I know, and what can I learn from the books, or what can I learn from the courses or certification. But here you have a living example right in front of you, showing you what is possible. And even for us, like just paying attention to what is that our patients need, and how, what is working, what's not working, and having like a partnership with them and learning from them. Kudos to you for opening your eyes and
Yes.
picking up on it, because there are a lot of people not picking up on it.
Well, I think there is that multiple hit theory, right? So it's not the first exposure that
Yes.
does, or the second, or the third. So somebody plants the seed, and somebody else comes and waters the seeds, and slowly. So I look at it that same way with myself. When I see my patients, many of them are not ready yet to make changes, but at least I can plant the seeds. And then at the next visit, maybe I can try to water those seeds, because somebody, did that for me. So we all have to just try to raise awareness.
Excellent.
Wonderful, yeah.
So as we were discussing, like it is so difficult, like when it comes to imparting lifestyle, like both for the patients and the physicians, it's a tough task, and that too in the clinic appointments to do that. So like what have you experienced in terms of your practice, and like how are you imparting this lifestyle medicine in your area?
Yeah. So we really try to engage our patients, and we really try to offer them many things. So some of them are not ready yet for diet changes, but that's okay. We've got some exercise stuff going on. So like every first and third Saturday, we have free meditation at 9 o'clock. Every second Saturday, we have walk with a doc at 9 o'clock. And we used to kind of meet at a park and invite a specialist doctor who would give a little talk, and we would all walk together. And then, of course, we try to do little seminars, and we invite registered dietitians or cognitive behavior therapists. So part of it is they know that we have really invested in their health and wellness. So whatever they can do, if they want to come to cooking classes or group visits. And so these things are available as part of our clinic, and most of them are free. So they're free to the community. So they don't even have to be our patients. It can be anybody. They can just go on our website, go to events. At the time of the event, they can click on the Zoom meeting and just join us, because we really want everybody to get healthy, because it's so important. I forgot where I was going with this, but mainly it's about just making things available. And so I still practice internal medicine, and often I'll spend longer making health goals and plans with people in terms of lifestyle medicine. And then if they really, really are motivated and they want to reverse their diseases and really make the changes and go to a plant-based diet and, bring mindfulness into their life and make exercise a part of their routine and just really incorporate all the pillars of lifestyle medicine, then they work with my husband, who provides the immersion program. So disease reversal program, weight loss program, gut health program, really whatever their goal is, he helps them get there.
Excellent. So coming to plant-based eating, Vandana, so in terms of like today, like we promised our listeners that we would be talking about fiber. I know, especially when people transition to this kind of diet, their focus is what about protein? Am I getting enough protein? But seldom do we realize about fiber. And so could you speak to us like, is fiber important? And what can it do for us?
Yeah, so I'm very, very passionate about fiber. Even if I can't get my patients to be plant-based, I really try to have them be plant-forward. And a plant-forward person is someone who's reducing their animal foods and their processed foods and increasing their whole plant foods. And as they're increasing their whole plant foods, they're obviously increasing their fiber. And that fiber provides so many benefits that it makes it easier then to keep moving forward in that direction. So you're absolutely right. Protein has such a halo around it in this world right now, where everybody's worried about if they're going to get enough protein. And as physicians, and even as just common people, when's the last time we had a loved one who died of a protein deficiency? When's the last time you visited anybody in the hospital with protein deficiency? It really doesn't happen. I also see a lot of hospice patients. And at that time, sometimes the diagnosis is severe protein calorie malnutrition. But it's protein calorie malnutrition. It's because they're getting calorie deficiency as well. They're not absorbing the calories, they're not absorbing the protein, that they have that. But if people are getting enough calories, and especially healthy calories, I mean, there could be cases of totally junk food calories where they're not getting enough protein. But if you're eating healthy plant foods, protein deficiency is something you can just stop worrying about. Fiber deficiency, on the other hand, does cause all the problems that we see. People do know about it causing colon cancer, but of course, it also causes other colon issues like diverticulosis, diverticulitis, irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel syndrome. Not just colon issues. Not getting enough fiber is the main reason for things like even diabetes and heart disease and high blood pressure, and pretty much most chronic diseases that we're dealing with can be improved or managed better or even reversed if we can really increase the fiber in our diet. And then, USDA recommends very minimal amounts, 25, 30 grams, and most people are not even getting that amount. So they're getting 15 grams of fiber or less. I believe the numbers they say about, is it 90% of people are deficient in fiber? Even like 90% of vegans are deficient in fiber because they're eating too many processed foods and not enough real foods with fiber. So that is something that I really try to get my patients to increase. So sometimes patients are not open to cutting out foods. They don't want to let anything go. That's okay. Then we work on increasing the healthy foods. And as they increase the fiber, it automatically crowds out the bad stuff. Because, one of the benefits of fiber is it gives us that feeling of satiety. It makes us feel full. So it really helps with weight management. And because they're feeling full, they're no longer needing to eat the unhealthy foods. So I tell them, okay, don't give up anything, but can you add this for me? Can you add a smoothie to your breakfast? Can you add a salad to your lunch? And can you make sure you get some kind of whole grains or lentils or beans for dinner? And if they can just add on, I'm not even telling them to subtract, it automatically subtracts the bad stuff.
And you said it so well, especially as you were speaking earlier, like all the diseases or chronic conditions that we're seeing nowadays is due to fiber deficiency. And yet nobody talks about like fiber. They're worried about protein and all that. And like you listed, and I would say like even in the hospital, like 85 to 90% of the patients that you're seeing is because of fiber deficiency.
Yeah, most almost from like mouth to butt end. Like my practice is general surgery and gastroenterology. Like more than 50% of my practice is endoscopy and like all the gut and colon diseases. And I would say if people actually start eating the recommended, not even the recommended 40 grams, I would say not, even if they get like 25 to 30 grams of fiber, most of us would go out of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Even like gallstones, that's a big part of general surgery.
It's
all diet related.
Mm-hmm. So just for our listeners, like, a couple of interesting numbers that they could just by increasing 14 grams, like if you add like 14 grams of fiber, you end up eating 200 calories less, right? Without even trying. So what that means, just like what you just stated, like if they add even a cup of beans, they get like 14 grams of fiber, and then they end up eating less. It's like losing weight without even trying.
Yes, exactly. And not to mention the fact that fiber is what our good bacteria in our gut want to eat. So there's so much research that's come out in the last 5 years on our gut microbiome and how important it is to our overall health. They think even so many of the autoimmune diseases, right, are happening because of the dysbiosis in our gut. Leaky gut and all those issues are happening because these good bacteria are not lining what they should be lining, and things can leak out. And I see a lot of patients think that they can just take probiotics and that will take care of it. But I do want to clarify that as well. You want to feed the bacteria the right foods, and then they will automatically grow and reproduce. Everything in nature wants to grow and reproduce if given the right environment. And that right environment for those good bacteria in your gut is resistant starch and fiber, which is in plant-based foods. So when you feed them the right foods, they take care of you. Now they say that 90% of serotonin, the feel-good hormone, is made in our gut with the help of these bacteria. So it's so important for our mental and emotional health, our physical health, our gut health, our immune health. They're finding out the immune system is really affected by these bacteria. And now during a pandemic, it's more important than ever to take care of our immune system, to take care of these bacteria. And the way to do that is eat a lot of fiber. So some of my patients, I'm like, okay, if you don't want to eat it for yourself, eat it for those bacteria, because otherwise you're starving them.
Yeah, and it's these bacteria, like as you mentioned, Vandana, like so much research has come in like last decade about the importance of gut microbiome and how we are seeing that that dysbiosis, that imbalance of the gut microbiome, is causing to not only just the physical health issues, but also the mental health issues. And many people don't actually connect these two things, like how the food that we eat is also linked to the mood. Like food and mood are so related. Like you mentioned that the 90% of the serotonin, the feel good hormone, is produced by help of with the gut bacteria. But for them to produce it, they need the right substrate, right, like the fuel. Yeah. It's And the thing is, it is so easy to make small, like to boost your fiber intake, isn't it? So how do you start? Um,
Or what do you recommend your patients? How do they increase their fiber intake?
Yeah, yeah. So there's some people who are happy to eat salads. They love salads and they can incorporate more salads in their diet. There are others who literally tell me they cannot chew anymore. That their jaw gets tired of chewing on these salads. And for them, smoothies is a great way to just put a straw in and get a lot of plant foods and fiber in. And I really like to clarify to people that smoothies are okay because it leaves the fiber in, but juices are not, because juices strip the fiber away and you get all the pulp out and you're just left with the no fiber part of the plant food. So smoothies are a great way. And then, even avocado, which a lot of people really like as a plant food that they're okay with, has a lot of fiber. And then, of course, whole grains and nuts and seeds. Quinoa is the easiest whole grain people find to cook, and it's easily digestible, and it's supposed to be complete protein for those people who are worried about protein still. And so quinoa with lentils or beans, those are really great ways to get fiber in your diet. And even snacking, maybe using carrot sticks and celery sticks with hummus, or even with salsa, eat that with veggies instead of chips. Snack on a fruit like an apple, which there have been plenty of studies done to where people, when they eat an apple before their meal, they actually, like you said, eat less calories in that meal. So we try to figure out what foods they already like that are actually healthy, like sweet potatoes. Many of my patients are fine with sweet potatoes, even though they don't like other fruits and veggies. So we really increase the sweet potatoes in their diet. And sweet potatoes are a great source of fiber as well.
And as you mentioned, like getting 40 grams of fiber is good, but even that feels a lot. Even if we can get 25 to 30 grams, that's a huge win. So this number seems so big. So sometimes the patient wonder, like, how can I get like 40 grams of fiber in? Like, this seems quite impossible.
Yeah, so 40 to 50 grams is what we as plant-based doctors recommend, and we try to do. And it initially seems like a big number when you are using 15, you're so used to so many processed foods and animal foods. But as you start incorporating even small changes, you get up to 25. And like I said, once you start seeing the benefits, then it becomes easier, what I've noticed in people, to add on even different plant foods, even the ones they didn't like before, or even the ones they had never tried before. And variety of plant foods eventually is actually the goal, even though at the beginning we work with them and, okay, just keep eating the ones you like. But then the taste buds start changing. And then it's really not that hard to get, okay, so let's start with breakfast. If you do oatmeal or rolled oats, and you can add nuts and seeds to it, which will increase both the protein and the fiber. So maybe like some sliced almonds or pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds. That is about 8 grams of protein right there in that kind of a bowl. And then if you've got smoothie, which what I drink, I can go over how about I go over my day? And
sure. Yeah, that would be quite helpful.
Yeah,
for
so Oatmeal, I don't cook, but I do rolled oats. It's easier for me, and it's easier for a lot of people. And then in the rolled oats, I put in a lot of berries. I put in cacao powder, cinnamon powder, nutmeg, whatever I want to. Flavors it up nicely without adding any sugar, because the sugar is coming from my fruits. And then nuts and seeds, like I said. And then I eat a lot, so this can take a while. And then I do a big beer glass of smoothie. And my green smoothies have chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, hemp seeds. So all of these things have omega-3s, they have protein, and they have fiber. So that, along with, of course, the greens and the water and a little bit of frozen fruits, gives it really nice taste. So that glass of smoothie is probably also another 10 grams of fiber. And then that's not enough to fill me up. So then I'll have like an Ezekiel toast or Ezekiel muffin or something like that. And this bread, I don't know, do they have it in Canada?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is sprouted bread that's then baked. So that step of flour is taken away. So it's the flour that gives you that glycemic index being high. So this is the low glycemic index bread, which means that your sugar goes up slowly and doesn't give you a spike, and then you don't get that insulin spike, and then you're not prone to insulin resistance. So see, our bodies can handle sugar if it's released slowly. It's when it comes too quickly that we have issues, and that's a problem. So when you eat low glycemic index foods, even though it's bread, it's very different than white flour bread. So I'll have that Ezekiel toast with either like peanut butter, or here we get this thing called nutso. I don't know if they have it there, but it's like this blend of like Brazil nuts and chia seeds and flax seeds and pumpkin seeds. It's like 8 nuts and seeds together in a butter.
Wow.
Put that on
Sounds
top.
great, yeah.
So by breakfast alone, I've probably gotten good 25 grams of protein in. And then for lunch, I take usually leftover whole grains that are left from dinner the night before, and leftover lentils and beans. And then I also then take a big salad. And I actually sometimes take another mason jar of smoothie. So again, it's another like 20 plus grams for lunch. I don't eat snacks. I know people ask about that a lot, what to eat for snacks. We get that from our patients, because my meals are so big, I think, that carries me through. And then for dinner, it's usually, oh yeah, and I take some fruit. I eat fruit all 3 meals as well, because there's fruit in my oats and there's fruit in my smoothie. And then I'll take like a clementine or apple for lunch. And then for dinner, we'll have usually a grain bowl, which will have veggies and whole grains and beans or lentils. And then we cut lots of fruit, and fruit is our dessert. And then if I'm really craving something sweet, much more than fruit, then I'll have dried fruit. So I've got apricots and dates and prunes, figs, but make sure they don't have added sugar or oil, because some of them do, but most of them don't. Just read the labels. And so that's like candy to me. Yeah, so every day I get to eat all these.
Sounds delicious.
Yes, yeah. So I know, like you were telling, okay, like already by breakfast you're getting like 20 to 25 grams of fiber, and even during lunchtime, like you're getting like 20 grams of fiber and more than that. And even like dinner time, so you're getting that. So yeah, small clarification, because you were saying protein, then people were thinking, so I know like you were referring to fiber.
But even if people are worried about protein,
yes, I was saying many of the things that I'm putting in my food, like chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, they're high in both protein and fiber.
Yes, yes,
So
absolutely. Yeah,
many of the things with fiber will have plenty of protein. So you won't have to
absolutely.
worry
Yes.
about
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Like that's a great example of like how to make it happen. And when you were describing, like we have a similar meals. We have a lot of grain and bean bowls, and we have oatmeal is pretty staple in our house. Like
So it's interesting. I know, like we have a teenager son. He's 16 years old, and even breakfast time when it comes to oats. So like our son prefers steel cut oats,
it.
and I prefer oat groats. Arjun goes with whatever he's in mood for. So and it's
so they're always fighting. Like in the morning, so Shobha wants oat groats, Shakti wants steel cut oats. So like so the thing is we try to go with one thing. So the night before, mom and son they're discussing, oh, what are we having tomorrow? So because it's Shakti wakes up in the morning and like he before he goes to shower, he turns on the instant pot. So by the time he's done with the shower and he done with his meditation, like he's the oat groats are ready, and we have like nice porridge.
yeah.
Well, I
And
have to commend you on that because that's even way better than rolled oats, to have steel cut oats and oat groats. So, one of the things that I'm constantly teaching my patients is how foods can be unprocessed and more processed, and it's a spectrum. And I give example of soy, and one of the examples I give is oats. And I say, oat groats, it's completely unprocessed. And then steel cut oats is slightly more processed. And then rolled oats are more processed than that. And then instant oats are more processed than rolled oats. And then oat flour is more processed than that. And then oatmeal cookie is more processed than that.
That's a huge.
It's a spectrum. And you guys are doing great with oat groats and steel cut oats.
Yeah.
We need to incorporate more of that. I do that sometimes, but it's a little more work.
yes, it is.
What we find is what we found is like with instant pot, it becomes so easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to get your son's recipe on that.
No, actually, it's just put the either steel cut oats or the oat groats and add water like maybe an inch and a half to 2 inches of water on top of that.
Okay.
And press the
button in the instant pot. So our son likes it because it's just the press of the button. You just put the oats, water, press the button. So
how many minutes do you give it?
If it is oat groats, we actually cook it for a longer time. So and we like the porridge consistency, so we put it for 40 minutes.
Okay.
And steel cut oats, if we want porridge consistency, we put it for 20 minutes. But if we want to be cooked regularly,
even 10 minutes is done.
Yeah, even in even 5 minutes it's done.
Yeah.
in the instant pot.
So what we found is the best time to put is when you wake up and like you just before you get ready, like before you do your morning routine, we just go out to the kitchen and just turn it on and then do our thing. And by the time we're done with our routine and like shower and it's done. Though then we
one more question. Do you soak it overnight before?
No, actually, no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is you can also cook it in bulk. It's not that you have to cook every day. So you could just cook in bulk and put it in the fridge, and like every day you could just take a little bit. But like our son, he likes to have hot breakfast. So and he loves fresh food. So
yeah.
So that's why I know it's the same oatmeal, but like he puts it every day. Like it's the same thing.
That's so great that he's incorporating these healthy habits early on. Yeah. So I've got 2 sons in college now. And one of them, now that he's second year, he has like a little apartment. So one of the first things he got for the apartment was an Instant Pot. And he's making his own chickpeas from scratch and his own kidney beans from scratch. And so proud of him for...
Wonderful.
Yeah, and he's exposing his roommates to plant-based eating. And yeah, so that's good.
It's wonderful, yeah. Another thing with the Instant Pot is it's when we're talking about the fiber, it's also so easy to make some one-pot dishes like soups.
Yeah.
Right? So You throw in the vegetables and the grains and all in the instant pot. Some people are used to doing slow cooker recipes. So whatever cooking that they're used to, grains and beans and vegetables and some spices. Very easy to make tasty soups.
Yes.
And stews. And stews.
Yes.
Stews, yes.
Yeah. I like to tell my patients, remember the S's. Eat a lot of the S's. So
Yes.
soups and stews and smoothies and salads, they all start with S.
Yes. I also like that. I also like that rhyming. Like we say, just to add to that, stir fries, sandwiches, snacks, and sweets and salads, and so S is a good word for plant-based eating. So people ask,
awesome.
ask like, what do you eat on a plant-based diet? Like, I don't like. People say, oh, do you just eat carrots and?
Or do you eat just salads?
Yeah.
Like most people think, like on plant-based diet, we're just eating salads.
Yeah. So we just say, hey, we eat soups and stews and stir fries and sandwiches and salads and sweets and snacks. It just flows.
Awesome. I'm going to use that.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So one thing that comes up with when people are starting to add more fiber, and when they're not used to having more fiber, like sometimes they have some kind of bloating and like so. What do you suggest, like for your patients? Like, how do you advise about that?
Yeah. So one of the things I tell them to do is to go slow. So don't go from eating, standard American diet to the way you guys are eating with oat groats. So make small changes so you can get used to it. The other thing that's really important that people forget when they increase fiber is to increase water. So a lot of times if they'll increase fiber without increasing water, that causes a lot of gut issues as well. And then, improving our microbiome also helps. So the healthy bacteria are able to digest the fiber, whereas the unhealthy bacteria we've had before, they're not used to the fiber. So instead of taking probiotics, I recommend that they get fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut. Those foods have a lot of different species of good bacteria. Whereas probiotics, they'll have 5, maybe 7 species, right? So now the research is a little concerning about when you look at the American Gut Project, which was actually done at one of the colleges, one of my sons is at UC San Diego. It showed that we have thousands of species of these bacteria, and we have a lot less than when they checked in Africa, where people were eating more fiber. They have, several thousand more species of these bacteria. So when you're taking in these probiotics and they only have 5 species, then you're even though they're the good bacteria, you're causing an overgrowth of these 5 species. So you really want that variety, that diversity of good bacteria too. And one jar of kimchi is going to have different ones than the other jar of kimchi. So then you get that nature produces a lot better variety than the pills that the probiotics people are doing can produce. So really that also helps the gut out quite a bit. And in general, if they can add some activity and exercise along with increasing fiber to their diet, that also makes digestion a little bit easier. And then certain foods like beans, adding ginger to it helps with the digestion. Soaking it beforehand helps with the digestion. Rinsing it several times before cooking it helps as well. And some of my patients who still can't tolerate beans, what they do is they make it like a hummus consistency in blender or food processor, and then breaking down the cell wall then makes it much easier for them to digest. Now, this is not forever. This is just for a few weeks or a month or so until their microbiome improves, and then they're able to eat beans without, breaking them up.
Those are excellent suggestions.
Yeah, excellent points. Yeah, that's one challenge many people face. And one other thing that we sometimes suggest is maybe go for a smaller beans. Like if people having trouble with like bigger ones,
So go
go for the smaller white navy beans or go with lentils.
Or black-eyed peas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are easier to cook. They
yeah.
cook faster, and they're also easier to digest than the big, like chickpeas or kidney beans or black beans. Those can be more difficult, at least initially. Later, you'll be able to handle them all.
Yes. Yeah. So you brought up a very good point about the probiotics, right? Like many people think that taking probiotics or taking fiber supplements is a replacement for getting this fiber. But can you comment on that? Like, what do you see that as a difference between getting it as from whole foods, the fiber versus fiber supplements?
Yeah. So there really isn't a substitute to getting your nutrients from whole food because it comes as a package. And our bodies over thousands and millions of years knows what to do with this food package. It knows how to absorb the nutrients really well. Whereas when it comes as a reductionist vitamin, like let's say vitamin A, it comes as vitamin A by itself without other things in nature that help us really absorb it right, then our bodies don't really know what to do with it. And sometimes it can overabsorb and sometimes it can underabsorb. And there have been plenty of studies. I don't know if any of you guys have read the book Whole by T. Colin Campbell, but that really got my attention because there were these studies that showed that people who were taking these supplements, these phytonutrients that we know are so healthy for us, when they were taking resveratrol or these other things by themselves, not how they come in nature with other things, their outcomes were worse. They were increasing their risk for all sorts of diseases. So somewhere, a few decades ago, things started changing and we started really increasing animal foods and processed foods in our diet. And instead of saying that we need to eat those for vitamins and minerals, and we started making these pills. We said you could just eat your animal foods and processed foods, and here, take a multivitamin for your vitamins and minerals instead of getting it from food. And that has really led to our health going down quite a bit. So whether you're trying to get fiber from a pill or whether you're trying to get vitamins or minerals or phytonutrients from a pill, like those eye vitamins, they've been also shown. Probiotics from a pill, it's not nearly as effective as getting food as a package the way nature made it.
Okay, yeah. So we lost you for a few moments, like it froze, but you're back.
Yeah,
it's good. Good. Yeah. So there is one question here from one of our listeners. They're asking, is it okay to soak the steel cut oats overnight and cook in the morning? Will we lose any nutrients?
I think you should answer it.
Okay. So basically, we don't see any reason to soak the steel cut oats overnight because they cook so fast in the Instant Pot. But if you don't have Instant Pot, and if you want them to cook a little faster, you could definitely soak them, and that will decrease the cooking time.
Yeah.
You won't be losing any nutrients. You don't have to worry about losing nutrients.
Yeah, just by soaking.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. See, the thing is that many people don't realize that we can't put the nature in a bottle, in a pill bottle, right? And one of the questions that comes up is, hey, when we ask our patients to increase the fiber intake, do you have a supplement? Do you have a pill that I can take, right? So that's.
And the pill is not going to work the same way because one of the ways that fiber works is the roughage. So that roughage is kind of like, I tell my patients, like a broom. And it kind of, when it's moving along, it's cleaning up. It's cleaning up the colon, all that fiber roughage. And then when you drink water with it, then you're also kind of getting a mop cleaning. So it really cleans out the toxins and extra estrogen, extra hormones. It takes all of this stuff out. It even takes extra LDL out before it can be absorbed into the bloodstream. So all of the stuff that it does with that broom-like action of taking out these things, you're going to have to eat the real food to get all those benefits.
Yes, absolutely. One thing I just want to mention in accordance with that is when we think of fiber, people sometimes will say, okay, when I'm eating vegetables and whole grains and beans, I'm getting fiber. But what you may not be realizing is, along with the fiber, you're getting so many vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals and antioxidants, which boost the health. But when you're taking the fiber supplement, you're just taking the fiber, but you're losing the benefit of not getting the other things that, as you mentioned in the beginning, food comes as a package. So here, when you eat from the whole foods, we are reaping the benefits of the whole food package.
Absolutely. And those antioxidants, the same foods that have the fiber have the antioxidants. And one of the benefits that a lot of my female patients, they really enjoy the benefit, and I do too, of the antioxidants making us a little younger. I have two college kids, and when I went to drop one off recently, somebody at the college thought I was a student there. And that would not have happened if I wasn't eating plant foods.
Yes,
really,
absolutely. Yeah.
It keeps you healthier and it keeps you younger.
Absolutely. And sure, I mean, the skin, like it shows up in the skin, right? Like the food, it affects our skin health. And one of the things that we noticed in our students, and we get compliments many times, is like, you guys look so healthy and like glowing. That's because of, what we're eating and how we are living.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is another question
Absolutely.
here, Vandana.
Yeah. So where do you get your kimchi from, and is it vegetarian?
Yeah.
Really good question. Yeah, because you have to be careful. There is kimchi that can have animal products in it. I don't see why, but yeah, it does. So yeah, I make sure mine says vegan. I have gotten it from farmers market locally. I've also gotten it from HEB and Whole Foods as well. They do have kimchi that's labeled as vegan. And then again, you also want to make sure there's no oil. There's no reason to be, but every once in a while, I don't know why they like to put oil in things.
Yeah.
But yeah, sauerkraut or kimchi should be in water, and make sure it doesn't have fish sauce. Sometimes it can have fish sauce. Good point.
Yeah, one thing, a couple of things like about kimchi when it comes is like kimchi or sauerkraut. Some people don't realize that these fermented products that we get from the store have a lot of added salt. So when you're buying, you really want to check for the salt content. That's one thing. The other thing is, if you're eating a bunch of whole grains and fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, we don't have to have these things. So this is just a so sometimes when we say these things,
Yeah, people think, oh,
people think, oh,
it's not available near my store.
yes,
so.
and they're like, oh, since because we talked about it, let's go buy kimchi. No, you don't have to. What we want to focus on is like get you beans, get you grains and veggies.
Yeah, so you're very good in clarifying that. So, I've talked about prebiotics quite a bit, but it's really important the food that those, the probiotics, I mean. So there's prebiotics, which is food for those probiotics, those bacteria. And what these bacteria make is called postbiotics, which is, the fatty acids and the serotonin and all this other beneficial stuff that these bacteria make are postbiotics. So the most important thing actually is the prebiotics, which is the food, which is the fiber. So if you're eating a variety of prebiotics, you'll automatically get a variety of probiotics, and you'll automatically get all the beneficial postbiotics.
That's great point, because many people don't realize about the prebiotics. Mm-hmm. Prebiotics is basically the fiber in the food, right? Yeah. One thing I think that to add to this discussion is making sure that our listeners understand, hey, when you eat animal products, absolutely zero fiber, right?
Zero.
Like when people that many people see, when I do the dietary history with my patients, I ask them, "What did you have for breakfast?" "Oh, doc, I had like eggs and bacon." "Okay, what did you have for lunch yesterday?" "Oh, I had like a turkey sandwich with some cheese." And then, "What did you have for supper?" "I had some shake and bake chicken with some mashed potato." So then we do, when we do the how much fiber did you have in it? So I see that many people don't realize that, hey, chicken, fish, turkey, beef,
Milk.
pork, cheese, butter, eggs, these have zero fiber, right? So I've had patients where when we did the fiber like score thing, like just calculate quickly, we had patients who are getting less than 5 grams of fiber per day, two
Yeah.
grams of fiber per day.
And there's a 4-leaf survey that your patients can just do online,
Mhm.
which kind of really gives an idea of their nutrition status. And so I have some Indian vegetarian patients too. And so many times I'm surprised at how low their score is because they're eating a lot of dairy and they're eating a lot of processed foods. So they're not getting enough fiber at all. So it really is important to pay attention to the fact that animal foods, including dairy and eggs, have no fiber, and processed foods have very little fiber. So to get fiber, you got to eat what comes out of the earth.
That's an excellent point you brought up, Vandana, because sometimes we think, oh, we are eating vegetarian, maybe we are getting fiber, but you're right. If you're eating processed, you're not getting much fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there are a lot of misconception in the vegetarians thinking, "Oh, I'm a vegetarian, I'm eating healthy." But we are seeing so much of a rise of diabetes and high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease in the
In vegetarian.
vegetarians. That's
And
because the
breast
diet
cancer.
and breast
Breast
cancer. Yeah.
cancer. I've seen that in many of my own family members, and many of my Indian patients. Breast cancer is really on the rise, and fiber is one of the things that can really help reduce our risk for breast cancer because, like I said, it takes out those excess hormones, including excess estrogen, and really reduces our risk for breast cancer and prostate cancer.
Mhm. So many reasons for you
For you to take fiber.
yeah. Fiber is your best friend, and when you start eating it, just to add some humor to it, like when you start eating in the beginning, and if you're not used to, you may have some bloating, you may fart a little bit more, but that's okay. Your gut is gonna just adjust in like 2 to 3 weeks because as we change our diet, our gut bacteria is changing, and just give it few days and you'll start to reap the benefits. Pandana, we are coming to the top of the hour. We want to tell all our listeners that how they can connect with you and like how they can follow. Your website is lifestyledocs.com, right?
Yeah, yeah. Not sure how we got that domain name, but it was waiting for us.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you just put in lifestyledocs.com, it'll bring you to us. Also, we are on Facebook and on Instagram. Yeah, if you have any questions, just reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you move further towards a healthy diet and lifestyle.
Wonderful. Like you have many free programs and you have many programs that you and
Manish.
Manish are doing. So it's amazing. Like you're
Yeah, join us. We have people joining us from different states and different countries. So you don't have to be in Houston to be part of our community.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
So there is
So,
a question here, right? Like, can you list some veggies which have fiber in it
sorry.
and can be easier to cook?
Yeah, so even potatoes. People
Mhm.
think potatoes are carbs and don't are not healthy, but it's what we put on the potatoes. If we put sour cream and butter and bacon bits and cheese, that's what makes it unhealthy. Or if we use a lot of oil with potatoes, that's what makes it unhealthy. But I do a lot of potato and cauliflower without oil. That's a very common Indian vegetable that we cook. I do a lot of okra. I do a lot of cabbage. Um, those things all cook very nicely and very easily without needing to use oil. Just I use a lot of spices, and that gives it a lot of flavor. What are some of the veggies? Squashes. I like squashes too. I what else do I cook regularly? I do sweet potatoes. And then the salad items that I like to eat is carrots and bell pepper and celery. I really like celery. That's supposed to be great for skin too. Um, Beets, some people like them raw, some people like them cooked. They're pretty easy to cook in the oven. Just give it a little while in the oven. Turnips, some people like, some people don't. So, just try and see. Salad tomatoes are really nice. Microgreens, sometimes I'll get those at the farmer's market. They're supposed to be even healthier and tastier than the big greens. So like broccoli microgreens or little pea sprouts. There's so much I can
Yeah, so many.
So, I mean, the bottom line is pick the vegetable you like.
Yeah.
I mean, like
every single one of them has fiber.
Yes, the great news is vegetables have fiber, so it doesn't matter which vegetable. Pick your favorite vegetable and make sure you cook without oil, so that like it's not more processed. Put your favorite spices, and like it makes a yummy. It's important that you enjoy too. So whatever you're cooking, because if you're not enjoying, you won't be eating much. So whatever you're preparing, like whether you're preparing salads or whether you're preparing cooked vegetables, or whether you're marinating the vegetables, or you're making the form of kebabs, or you're stir frying, whatever you're doing, pick your favorite veggies and eat
Yeah,
them.
make it happen. And if you want ideas, our website giftofhealth.org, we have over 250 recipes, all free and oil free. So just check them out as well.
Yeah.
Vandana, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everyone for joining us as well. We will see you next week.
Yes.